Okay, so we're going to be testing out the pipe cutter to cut this steel pipe here that we're using for curtain rods on our back patio. So I got this thing measured. I'm going to be cutting on this side right here, and I got my steel pipe cutter here. It's got some rollers here, and then it's got a blade there, and then it's got a screw here to adjust it. So you just unscrew it until it fits. Get it lined up there, and then screw it until it's tight. And then you can start rolling it around here. Once you get a line in there, you can peel this tape off because it'll just get bunched up and be in the way. And then as you're cutting it, you can make some adjustments here. We're not quite ready yet, but you can tighten it up. I don't know if it matters which way you turn it, because we're just cutting. Whatever way feels more comfortable for you. This is a good alternative to using a grinder. If you use a grinder, you can get a lot of sparks flying. And there's always a possibility of catching something on fire, so you have to be careful when you're using a grinder and you got sparks flying everywhere and metal chips flying everywhere. It can be kind of fun, but you just need to be careful with that. This is just a little more manual labor, but it's a cleaner cut. A cleaner, straighter cut. Because these rollers and this blade keeps everything in position. I was using a metal cutting blade on my miter saw, and I forgot to take the bag off the back. There's a dust collector bag, like a little fabric dust collector bag, and I forgot to take that off when I was cutting some steel plates with a metal blade on my miter saw, and it caught the dust bag on fire. So it's definitely a fire hazard using a saw with a metal blade on it. Yeah, the crazy things we do. Well, that's how you learn. If you take some time to think about it, that was really not a good idea, but I didn't take the time to think about it. I just was thinking about cutting the steel plates real quick with the chop saw, with my miter saw. And it did cut them quick, but it put a lot of sparks flying back in through the dust collector bag and lit the whole thing on fire. Poof, it just disintegrated. Because there was some sawdust in there. So sparks and sawdust together, yeah, not a good combination. I think they sell electric ones of these too. Electric pipe cutters. But we'll cut it real quick. This can be a bit of a pain, twisting this around like this. But yeah, if you don't have a grinder, you can just get a metal blade for your chop saw, for your miter saw. But if you do that, don't hook it up to the dust collector, or take the dust collector bag off the back, and then make sure the back of it where it's aiming is aimed to an area where there's not any wood or anything. Some people actually get shields that they set up for when they're grinding, and then all the sparks and everything will fly into a shield, and that reduces your chances of catching things on fire. You can also add some oil on here if you want. This is the Oatey dark thread cutting oil that I got for the pipe threader, but you could put a little bit of this on here too. But when you're doing that, if you put the oil on there, make sure you have a garbage can underneath so that the oil won't drip all over the floor. That cutting oil really lubes it up good so it can really start to spin around. It was starting to smell a little bit. I could smell and that's probably the pipe threader or the pipe cutter cutting into the metal and starting to get hot and burn a little bit. So this oil helps a lot. Just like if you're drilling on a drill press, you put some of that oil in there to help everything work. Same thing here. Once it starts to feel loose, then you can crank it down a little bit and tighten it. You can start to feel it getting loose here, and you can see the threads in there pretty good, so this is going to drop. So you want to be ready for that. It might not be a bad idea to put your arm right around here when you're doing this, and then that way if it falls you'll be able to catch it. But if you're wearing flip-flops like me, you got to be extra careful. I don't know if you can see that. Wearing the flip-flops, which is not a good idea. You want to use steel toe boots or something, because if you drop this on your foot, that's going to leave a mark. So once again, I didn't really think that out. I should have put on some boots when I did this. But when you make a few mistakes, then you learn from it, and at least you can be careful when you're doing things wrong, because you don't want to drop this on your toes. But yeah, if you got it positioned right here, then you should be good. And if you're really getting close, you put your hand up here, which I think we're getting really close here. I can feel it. Yeah, it'd be even better if you had a workbench where you had this in the middle there with a space here, so you could crank this and then this would just fall on your workbench and it would have a safe landing. So yeah, this isn't without danger. See how it started to come loose there, and I could have dropped it on my foot. So if you use a metal saw blade on your miter saw, you could start a fire. And if you're not careful with this, you can drop it on your foot, and if you're not wearing good foot protection, that could leave a mark. But anyways, there we go, we did it. That's how you use the pipe cutter. I can't wait to try this on some PVC pipe. I bet it'll work great on there. When I make a product review, I usually make 3 or 4 different videos about it. If you're interested in that kind of thing, then like and subscribe and follow and all that good stuff. In the meantime, you can check out this video right here.